and the people and government of the Republic of Malawi. Following the passing on of the Vice President of Malawi, Honorable Dr. Saulos Chilima, and 9 other people in a plane crash. May we observe a minute of silence in their honor.
This cell is the smallest organ of the party and is the foundation of this party, and you ignore it at the party's peril, said the head of the party.
Kana masel edu asina kusimba kuna msanga ningo sina kusimba saka vakuru vedu vo musanga masel kwete muri uno muneni. Hence the ongoing renewal and the mobilization of new members for the growth of the party must be supported to ensure that the grassroots structures of our party are properly structured.
President Mnangagwa challenged the party cadres to remain vigilant as negative forces are on the prowl, especially in the region with a rich liberation war heritage.
Lessons and emerging trends against the former liberation movements within and beyond the region are stark reminders of the sustained hegemonic tendencies of our SOL former colonizers. We must raise the political consciousness of our membership to defend our country, our independence, and territorial integrity now and into the future.
The first secretary of ZANU-PF said that there are certain negative attributes that some foreigners want to foist on our people, and we reject that. Now that the preparation for the SADC summit due in August are gathering steam, coinciding with the heroes' commemoration, Zimbabweans are called upon to be exemplary to the guests, and the image of the country will be carried far and wide, said the president. He said his visits to South Korea and Russian Federation were both fruitful in terms of economic diplomacy as the countries seek to benefit from the 2 visits. Ruben Barwesa, SADC News, Harare.
Malawian President Lazarus Chakwera has declared 21 days of national mourning in honor of Vice President Saulos Chilima and 9 other individuals who died in a plane crash on Monday.
President Lazarus Chakwera has declared 21 days of national mourning in honor of Vice President Saulos Chilima and 9 other individuals who died in a plane crash on Monday. The country's flags will be flown at half-mast during the period extending to Monday, the 1st of July. The funeral and burial of Abdul Lapkeni, one of the casualties in Monday's Mzimba plane crash, who was the Deputy Chief of Protocol in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, was held in Mangochi this Wednesday in respect of his Islamic burial rites. Meanwhile, the African continent and the global community have joined Malawi in mourning the late Malawian Vice President. The African Union Commission Chairperson Musa Faki Mahamat and the Southern African Development Community SADC have conveyed their condolences to the people of Malawi after the tragedy. Several African leaders, among them South African President Cyril Ramaphosa, Namibian President Nangolo Mbumba, and Tanzanian President Samia Suluhu Hassan, have also expressed their support and solidarity with the people of Malawi. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has also joined in mourning the late Dr. Chilima, saying he was saddened by the loss of lives. Dr. Chilima was Malawi's vice president since June 2020, when his alliance with President Chakwera won majority votes in national elections. The late Vice President Chilima was one of the founders of the United Transformation Movement. He also held other senior positions in multinational companies, which saw him becoming a seasoned and respected leader in Malawi.
May all the families find comfort in these difficult times. Meanwhile, President Emmerson Mnangagwa has received credentials from 3 ambassadors who represent their respective countries in Zimbabwe.
This Wednesday morning, 3 ambassador designates presented their credentials to President Mnangagwa at State House to pave way for them to begin their official duties. The 3 were from the Republic of Nicaragua, the Kingdom of Norway, and the Republic of Gambia. First to present credentials was the new ambassador for the Republic of Nicaragua, Her Excellency Nadiska Carlson, who said her country will be focusing on deepening cooperation with Zimbabwe in mining and agriculture.
Nicaragua and Zimbabwe has a long-standing relationship that goes back to the liberation, and we are hoping to strengthen that bond and to find ways, in many ways, that we can cooperate in what is agriculture, in education, in health, in any area that is needed, and especially to maintain that strong relationship in the international forum between both countries.
The Kingdom of Norway will be represented by His Excellency Yemand Sitha, whose country is considering cooperation in renewable energy, among other areas. Renewable energy is among the priorities of the Second Republic as the country seeks to boost power supply.
We need to know each other better, and I think that is one way that we can improve the economic ties. The investments we have through our development finance institutions is partly financial sector, partly agriculture, but I think also renewable energy should be one area that we can consider. So there are certain areas we are looking into here.
The new ambassador for the Republic of Gambia, Her Excellency Dr. Fatoumata Sisay, was the 3rd to present her credentials. The West African country's envoy said they will borrow from Zimbabwe's expertise in mining and agriculture.
We have discussed with His Excellency the President many issues, but number 1 is the bilateral cooperations that we intend to carry on between the 2 great nations. That's the land of stone, which is Zimbabwe, and the smiling coast of West Africa, which is the Gambia. Agriculture, because as you know, Gambia is dominantly farming country, and agriculture is our number 1 to our economy and tourism. So these 2 sectors, we are going to have a cooperation. And then we also talk about wildlife, because you have a lot of elephants that are idling here in Zimbabwe, and we want to improve our game reserve in Gambia.
Mining and agriculture are key sectors of Zimbabwe's economy, and cooperation with the Kingdom of Norway, the Republic of Nicaragua, and the Republic of Gambia in those sectors is key for the country. Josephine Mugio, ZBC News, State House.
President Emmerson Mnangagwa has appointed the Deputy Judge President and 10 judges of the High Court. In a statement this Wednesday, the Judicial Service Commission confirmed the appointment of Justice Garaine Sumawadze as the first Deputy Judge President of the High Court. 10 new judges appointed to serve at the High Court include Justice Faith Mushure, Justice Naison Chivayo, Justice Regis Dembere, and Justice Phillips Philippa. Justice Douglas Caetano has been appointed Judge of the Administrative Court. The new appointments come after public interviews in which 39 candidates were interviewed.
Meanwhile, Vice President General retired Dr. Constantino Chiwenga and his Angolan counterpart, Her Excellency Esperanza da Costa, met on the sidelines of the Dushanbe Water Conference in Tajikistan this Wednesday, with their discussion focusing on water security and the Khaza Transboundary Conservation Project.
Water security and collaboration between Angola and Zimbabwe took center stage when the 2 countries' vice presidents met in Dushanbe, Tajikistan this Wednesday. The vice presidents highlighted the importance of regional cooperation in tackling the effects of climate change.
Water has become a critical component, and you know it's a human right. We have now said water is a constitutional right for every Zimbabwean. Out of the 17 SDGs of the United Nations, 15 of them, water will still be there. So it's a critical component of human life. And so we wanted to share what we can do in our own region of SADC. We shared on what we are doing in Zimbabwe and what Angola is done.
We discussed issues related to our big project named CASA, and it needs to be analyzed by us because of the drought of water that nowadays exists in our communities. It has been bringing a lot of troubles, problems related to feeding and water. We have to quickly find solutions to improve the quality of water to our communities.
Vice President Chiwenga also paid a courtesy call on Tajikistan Prime Minister Kohera Suzoda, where they expressed readiness to strengthen multifaceted relations between the two countries. Discussions also centered on the need to expand cooperation in mining, agriculture, energy, tourism, and other economic areas. Vice President Chiwenga is in Tajikistan for the 3rd International Conference on the International Decade of Action, Water for Sustainable Development 2018 to 2028. Abigail Tembo, ZBC News, Dushanbe.
Back home, a government has intensified the construction and rehabilitation of urban roads, with more intra-city roads in Harare getting attention.
Road construction is hogged the limelight in Harare, with government rehabilitating some while others are being reconstructed. A survey carried out by ZBC News in Harare revealed that major roads are being attended to. Residents are convinced that the move is a step in the right direction despite the temporary inconvenience of congestion.
Tinofara chaiso nokugadzirwa kuitwa mugwagwa nokuti mugwagwa uyu mugwagwa mukuru chaiso nokuti unofamba mota dzakawanda. Migwagwa yacho manje makomba anga akuwanda. Saka nezvirodhi inenge yasmooth kunenge kwakunyatofambika.
Zimbabwe zviri kuita zvakanaka nokuti zviri kutibatsirawo isu vashandi. Rodhi inenge yakanaka chaizvo, takufambawo takasununguka, nyangwe kufamba manheru kwaitotyisa nekuda kwemugwagwa.
Vaenzoiswa vachauya muno ipicture yekutiratidza kuti vanoenda kunze vanoti market kuti Zimbabwe kwakanaka. Kana vanoda kuinvesta, vanoda kudiwa chinotikosheswa mugwagwa.
Mugwagwa uno Warren Park unobatanidza Blair Road neKambuzuma wanga wati sarei, asi tinofara zvikuru nekuti vatirangarira kuti ugadzirwe.
The Minister of Transport and Infrastructural Development, Honorable Felix Mona, gave an insight into the construction of roads across the country this Tuesday during the post-cabinet media briefing.
On average, I can say we are now on 70% on all the major roads that you know leading to the Parliament New City. And we also have a number of roads within the Great City where we are now around 50%. In general, we are above the desired target as we speak, and we are still earmarking our 30th of June for our roads.
Among the roads being rehabilitated is the Deep Way to Chiremba Road, as well as Kambuzuma Road in Warren Park. Bruce Chawanda, ZBC News, Harare.
In a related development, devolution funds have given the city of Mutare a facelift through infrastructure development, which has seen most of the intra-city roads being resurfaced.
Urban roads that fall under the purview of local authorities are being resurfaced in Mutare thanks to the devolution program and funds provided by government through the Zimbabwe National Road Administration, ZINARA. A walk around Sakuva and Morningside confirms that most of the intra-city roads have been given a facelift under the ongoing road rehabilitation program.
Potholes akanga awanda motika zikachafambi zvakanaka. Zvekutoti kana munhu wokutofamba usiku chaiwo watokwanisa kutonika gumbo kutokwara gumbo. Tiri kufara nekugadzirwa kwaitwa roads. Ende zvinhu zvinodadisa. Nezvaramba zvakadaro.
Ndakuona kana mane mapavement omaside mapoto pasina. Kunoka na development kumahambo kupakuiswa ma road sign.
Ndaona kuti road yanaka. Totenda hurumende yedu na baba Mnangagwa vari kuti kuitungamira kuti zvinhu zvifambe zvakanaka vachivedzera mari dzedevolution paground.
Acting Mutare Town Clerk Mr. Blessing Chafesuka revealed that funds disbursed by Zinara are being put to good use.
We managed to reseal this road, Petrol Porch, slur seal and reseal the road about 4.7 kilometers of network, Sakuva commuter road, and also 1.6 kilometers of Chaminuka road in Mourning side.
Manicaland Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution Advocate Mishek Mugadza stressed the importance of infrastructure development in the vision to attain an upper middle-income society by 2013.
Toda kutenda President wedu Dr. Idi Mnangagwa nemaprograms awo infrastructural development ari kufambisa nyika yedu takatasana nevision 2030. As Manicaland, we are very proud kuti our city very soon we will be talking about no potholes in Mutare.
It also emerged that the province is working with the Ministry of Transport and Infrastructure Development on a drive to refurbish urban roads. Kenya Sivuje, ZBC News, Mutare.
A government is forging ahead with its plan to introduce speed monitors for public transport as part of efforts to curb road carnage due to human error.
This week's question and answer session in the National Assembly was dominated by a motion for penalty points on road traffic offences for public transporters. Parliamentarians argued that the move should lead to withdrawal of operating licenses. In response, the Minister of Transport and Infrastructural Development, Honourable Felix Mona, said government has since set the age limit for public transport drivers at 30.
With the advent of the statutory instrument 118 of 2023, which became effective January 1st of January 2024, where we are mandating public service vehicles to have gadgets of speed monitoring. And this exercise is ongoing. And above all, we have a statutory instrument in place mandating the age limit so that those who are driving, we've advocated for 30 years and above public service vehicles.
Government also clarified that there is no payment required for enrollment at any of its next training institutions.
Hakuna hurongwa hwakadaro kana kuti muhurumende yose hakuna hurongwa hwekuti kana uchipinda basa unonzi bhadhara mari yekupinda basa. Takanangana nekuministry yekuti vana vanoda kutenda kuita chinesi tiri kuzviona tese watinogara kuti kune makoronyera ari kuda kutora mari dzevanhu achiti ndinokupinza basa rechinesi kana kuti ndinotrena chinesi. Hakuna zvakadaro.
Construction of rehabilitation centers for mental health and drug abuse is also on course as the country deals with the menace that has affected the youth dividend. Memory Chamisa, ZBC News, Harare.
Exciting times as government launched phase 2 of Operation Chenesa Harare in Mbare after declaring zero tolerance to waste in the metropolitan province.
The second phase of a clean-up exercise, Operation Chenesa Harare, has been launched in Mbare after successful implementation of phase 1 of the project early this year. The project will be undertaken over the next 3 months.
We are bringing together resources from government, key agencies and the private sector, most of whom assisted us in Operation Chenesa Harare Phase 1. This collaborative effort will allow us to leverage expertise, manpower and equipment from multiple stakeholders in order to maximize the impact of our cleanup efforts over the next 3 months.
The residents of Harare have welcomed the program, saying it will go a long way in alleviating environmental and health hazards associated with poor waste management.
My cases very low. Ni program Chenesa Harare. Saka izvezvi mamiri azvaita zvasaita kuti pese pese pane garbage.
Isusu sevagari tiri kuchitamira nemaoko maviri nekuda kwekuti nzvimbo dzatatigere dziri kungoramba dzichisviba, asi hurumende ikaramba ichitsigira kuchenesa nzvimbo dzatigere dzatinoshandira chinhu chakanaka chaizvo.
Meanwhile, the Harare City Council says it will complement government efforts of ensuring clean environments after procuring equipment for refuse collection.
We have bought 3 hook loaders, 20-ton hook loaders that will station here in Bari. Then we have bought 5 compactors, brand new, that we have deployed to the western suburbs, Greendale, Marlborough, Marlborough, Borodale.
Under the first phase of the project, more than 25,000 tons of waste were collected from dumps that had accumulated in most suburbs of Harare. John Nandara, ZBC News, Harare.
Remember, these and more stories are available on our website. It is www.zbcnews.co.zw.
Or you could visit us on our social media handles, that is at ZBC News Online.
Still to come in this bulletin, in business. An International Monetary Fund team to visit Zimbabwe.
Assessment of the ZIG will help top the IMF's agenda.
In sport, Warriors 2026 World Cup qualification campaign leaves the country soul-searching.
The main news takes a break. We'll be back with you shortly.
Why is Pizza Inn Zimbabwe's favorite? Must be the pizza.
Must be the perfectly kneaded dough.
The thick and rich pizza sauce.
Must even be the fresh and delicious toppings.
The soft and tasty mozzarella cheese.
All oven baked to make the perfect combination of mouth-watering pizza.
But it doesn't end there. At Pizza Inn, we're big on more. More pizzas, more extras, and more sharing.
With our delicious range of crowd-pleasing favorites, you'll have plenty to share with him or them, and even those guys. Share the fun with Zimbabwe's favorite.
Pizza Inn. Must be the pizza.
That's it. The regular football season is over.
What?
Yes, it's over.
Oh no.
But not for us here at Supersport. We've got a big deal coming your way.
Sorry, that's actually a pretty big deal.
Catch all 51 games of Euro 2024. Stay connected to DSTV to watch all the action on Supersport.
Welcome back. We now connect you to the city of Kings, where Arthur is on standby. Arthur, it's over to you.
Well, thank you so much, Zane. Our first port of call is all about transport and logistics. The National Railways of Zimbabwe's open access strategy is bearing fruit, with more partners coming on board through providing locomotives and wagons.
The open access strategy, which is part of the railway giant strategy to improve efficiency, has attracted the attention of the African Railways Company. Local players have also come on board in the provision of locomotives and wagons, which are, however, inadequate.
We recently introduced a new concept called open access, in which we are hoping in our contiguous railways, like the African Railway Company, like Bedbridge Blawayo Railways, and others that will come on board, as well as logistics companies like Silverglow, which have come on board with their own capacity in terms of locomotives and wagons. This increase in capacity will enable us to uplift as much business as we can.
With the country endowed with rich coal deposits, the railway giant is targeting to deepen its relations with other regional and international players like Turkey and the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, for coal movement and other minerals like lithium.
Currently, we have teams that are in the DRC scouting for these opportunities and engaging potential customers. We intend to move a lot of coal for the DRC market in partnership with the Zambia Railways.
There are also emerging markets for chrome and ferrochrome, with the NRZ targeting to tap into that market. Lisa Masuku, ZBC News, Bulawayo.
Speaking of export markets, small to medium enterprises in Bulawayo are confident of penetrating the export market after a capacity building initiative led by Zimbabwe's trade promotion body, Zimtrade.
What started as small businesses has turned into big ventures ready to penetrate the export market. With boundless opportunities in the export market, small to medium scale entrepreneurs in Bulawayo are prepared for the challenge.
It's a very comprehensive program. It gives you great information about, things you need to become an exporter, because a lot of people don't have the knowledge. I didn't have the knowledge on some of the stuff, which is something that I am aiming at.
We really need to be active on social media. We need to take advantage of such channels as YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, to be able to be updating your profile and everything, to showcase your products.
I am in this leather manufacturing. I want to make some exports of my finished products. So I have gained a lot of information and knowledge on how I am going to do the export markets.
Zimbabwe's trade promotion body, Zimtrade, has encouraged small and medium-scale entrepreneurs to take advantage of the available multiple export opportunities.
We are part of the AFTA as a country, the African Continental Free Trade Area, which requires us to actually accept that products are going to come into our market, and likewise we need to prepare ourselves to take the products out into the export markets. So for our SMEs to really grasp, all this capacitation is critical, because it then means that they are better prepared for them to take up these opportunities.
The continuous move to capacitate small to medium enterprises comes at a time when the Zimbabwean government is strengthening bilateral ties with the international community to increase trade, which is the engine for economic development. Grace Sibanda, ZBC News, Bulawayo.
A funeral service was held for the late Chief Malaba of Kezi at his rural home in Matoba district this Wednesday.
While many communities across the country are battling land degradation as a result of uncontrolled cutting down of trees, Malaba Ward in Matoba district has emerged as a shining example of environmental stewardship. This is attributed to strict environmental laws enforced by one of the longest-serving chiefs in Matabeleland South Province, the late Chief Malaba. Villagers who gathered for the late Chief Malaba's funeral service at his rural home confirmed that they have lost an environment enthusiast.
Wayesingavume ukuthi vanhu bateme miti, wayesingavume kuti vanhu batini, esingavume kuti kene kutonisisano umpatende masimba ehaka kuti vanhu vabhakwende zila inofanana.
Chief Malaba's humility and leadership qualities will forever be engraved in the minds of the local community.
Let us learn from our chief. He was a very, very principled person. Ebesiphila naye siyakwazi ekati no hayi akutotama ndikwegogo.
Matabeleland South Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution, Honorable Evelyn Ndlovu, described Chief Malaba as a fountain of wisdom.
Ngilande ukuzolikhulumisa on behalf of His Excellency the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, ubaba uDr. E.D. Mnangagwa. Ekhala nani bazali ukuthi akusini lodwa elilahlekilwe. Naye nelizwe isizwe sakithi silahlekelwe. Ngoba abantu laba nxa sebefike kulesi sigaba sokuthi usekuma 70 kuma 80 sebe sesikhangelela ukuthi yiba abasitshengisa indlela, ngoba ulwazi oyabelalo ngokudila labantu isikhathi lesi esakhula enguchief uyabe selolwazi oluphezulu.
Born David Christopher Malaba, Chief Malaba was installed as substantive chief in 1988 after the death of his father Ntelela Malaba in 1986. Chief Malaba is survived by his wife and 5 children. Providence Maranelli, ZBC News, Matobo.
On that sad note, we've come to the end of our Montrose crossover. My name is Arthur Sevens. We take you back to Pocketshill for more news. Over to you.
Many thanks to the Montrose team. We bring it back to the capital, where government has partnered the private sector in an exercise meant to ensure small to medium enterprises have insurance for their properties.
Government has partnered private players in the insurance sector to mitigate threats and risks associated with their businesses. The SMEs insurance program was this Wednesday taken to Mbare in Harare, where the Minister of Women Affairs, Community, Small and Medium Enterprises Development, Senator Monica Muchangwa, noted that the program will ensure financial inclusion for the SME sector.
We are concerned also about making sure that once they get that workspace, once they buy their wares, those which they want to sell, they also need to be insured. Our people traditionally have not been really taking insurance seriously.
The program will help SMEs embrace risk mitigation measures for their businesses.
My SMEs are the majority here in Harare. If we talk about the economic development of Harare, leaving my SMEs are part of that.
So we take home something very interesting back to our SME who are not present, that there is this noble thing which comes to our life in businesses.
Meanwhile, Small and Medium Enterprise Development Corporation, SMEDCO, has disclosed that it is in the process of expanding decent workplaces for small to medium enterprises.
We've got our former head office, which is in the CBD. We're expanding that to create workspaces for SMEs. We're also expanding Gazaland. We're also expanding Chitungwiza. We also have additional land banks, which we are in the process of developing throughout the country.
There are an estimated 3.4 million people in the small to medium enterprises sector. John Nandara, ZBC News, Harare.
A government is scaling up efforts to curb climate change-induced malnutrition in the wake of an El Nino-induced drought. Kenya's Chivuje with our next report.
As the El Nino-induced drought continues to affect various communities, government is working with various partners such as UNICEF in its interventions. Village health workers in Zimunya area of Mutare Rural fear drought could lead to acute malnutrition in children.
Watunyanya kubatsira ko wana ndezvekuti tinoita kupa mavitamin A kuna wana vedu nichivaera nichishandisa nemama wake. Kazhinji dai taiti iwo maorganization achiuya ngauye nevana nechikafu ndo chimwe chiri kunyanya kuderedza vana maweights.
Pautano hwewana tiri kuita dambudziko rekuti vana vari kudzikira pautano hwavo.
Kubva kutanga kwegore last year kusvika richipera vana vanga vachipika chaizvo. Izvozvi zvitautotanga kutoona kuti zvinhu zvasiyana. Vana havachanyanyi kuwedzera weight zvavanga vachiita mumashure.
Government and UNICEF spoke on the programs rolled out to fight malnutrition.
In the community, we have different interventions that are there, where we are saying we have village health workers, which is an important arm of the government, or an important arm of Ministry of Health in the communities where the mothers live. These village health workers are offering different services, and these services include screening for malnutrition.
We're calling on the donor community to come forward also with resources. We have sent out an appeal a couple of weeks ago for donor community to support the interventions of UNICEF. So we are actually calling for more than 80 million US dollars to be able to scale up the programs that we are looking into.
Meanwhile, UNICEF has also launched a campaign for an urgent increase for child-centered climate investments to reduce the risk of shocks caused by climate change. Kenya's Chivuje, ZBC News, Mutare.
News from beyond our borders. South Africa is dealing with an outbreak of monkeypox after one person succumbed to the infectious viral disease, while 4 cases have been recorded.
South Africa Health Minister Dr. Matume Pahla confirmed the development in Pretoria this Wednesday. He said KwaZulu-Natal has 3 cases, while Gauteng has 2. Reports say all the patients are males aged between 30 and 39 without any travel history to other countries which are experiencing the outbreak. Meanwhile, the Western Cape Agriculture Department has recorded 3 cases of suspected rabies in Blomberg, Strand, and Muizenberg.
In Gaza, Hamas and the Palestinian Islamic Jihad say they are prioritizing the interests of the Palestinian people, hence their demand for a complete withdrawal of Israeli forces from the territory. They made the submission to Qatari and Egyptian mediators after the adoption of a United Nations Security Council draft resolution on Monday, whose aim is to reach a comprehensive agreement for a three-phase ceasefire to end the war in Gaza. The Qatari Foreign Ministry has also confirmed that Qatar and Egypt have received a response from Hamas regarding the ceasefire proposal in the Gaza Strip.
The main news takes a break. We'll be back shortly with business news. Stay with us.
Pizza. But it doesn't end there. At Pizza Inn, we're big on more. More pizzas, more extras, and more sharing.
With our delicious range of crowd-pleasing favorites, you'll have plenty to share with him or them, and even those guys. Share the fun with Zimbabwe's favorite.
Pizza Inn. Must be the pizza.
That's it. The regular football season is over.
What?
Yes, it's over.
Oh no.
But not for us here at Supersport. We've got a big deal coming your way.
Sorry, that's actually a pretty big deal.
Catch all 51 games of Euro 2024. Stay connected to DSTV to watch all the action on Supersport.
Welcome back. An International Monetary Fund team is expected in Zimbabwe to assess the performance of the newly introduced Zimbabwe Gold ZIG and overall macroeconomic indicators.
2 months after its introduction, the ZIG has attracted the attention of global multilateral institutions such as the International Monetary Fund, IMF. The Bretton Woods institution will send a team of experts for engagements with Zimbabwean government officials, private sector, central bank, and fiscal authorities later this month. IMF Communications Department Director Ms. Julie Kozak revealed at a recently held media briefing that the team will assess the impact of the ZIG in stabilizing the local economy.
So on Zimbabwe, our staff is expected to conduct the Article 4 consultation mission later this month. Part of this, the Article 4 consultation will, of course, assess the entire economy, as we always do, but it will also be looking at the new currency arrangement, the ZIG, and this Article 4 mission will give us the opportunity to do that. And just as background, Zimbabwe did introduce a new currency backed by a basket of foreign currencies and other assets, including gold. And we, of course, stand ready to discuss these with the authorities and to support their efforts to restore macroeconomic stability.
Zimbabwe is also expecting the signing of an International Monetary Fund staff monitored program in October this year as an opportunity to clear outstanding arrears to global creditors, increase foreign direct investments, and maintain positive yearly growth rates. Treasury also expects the IMF team's visit to provide an opportunity for the institution to deepen ties with Zimbabwe. Stanley James, ZBC News, Harare.
The private sector is geared up to the SADC Industrialization Week, which will be held ahead of the SADC Summit and expected to enhance trade cooperation and accelerate regional industrialization.
Set from the 28th of July to the 2nd of August 2024, the 7th edition of the SADC Industrialization Week will precede the SADC Summit and will see regional captains of industry, policymakers and representatives of companies from the SADC region convening in Harare. President of the Confederation of Zimbabwe Industries, Mr. Kurai Macheza, said Zimbabwe will take over the chairmanship of the SADC Business Council to spearhead the private sector participation in regional trade.
Zimbabwe is taking over the chairmanship of SADC. So naturally, the host country, the BMO, also takes the chairmanship of the SADC Business Council. Again, if you go back at the inauguration of the SADC Industrialization Week, it started with three main pillars of focus, which is industrialization, competitiveness, and market integration.
Chief Executive Officer of the Zimbabwe National Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Christopher Mugaga, expects the event to spur Zimbabwe's industrialization drive.
It is an opportunity for Zimbabwean industry to showcase to the whole world through the SADC Industrialization Week how far progress we have made, especially with the agenda of the SADC, to see to it that we move up the value chain in terms of somehow industrializing.
In Tuesday's post-cabinet briefing, the Minister of Information, Publicity and Broadcasting Services, Dr. Jennifer Muswere, said companies from diverse sectors will grace the event.
It is expected that 150 companies from the SADC region will participate at the event, comprising the private sector, players in the agro-processing, mineral beneficiation, pharmaceutical, financial, consumer and capital goods, women and youth, micro, small and medium enterprises, and infrastructure sector companies. The major highlights for the Industrialization Week will be as follows: an investment conference which will be officially opened by His Excellency the President, and the Ministers' plenary session. The 44th SADC Summit will have two side events on the 18th of August, which also includes the launch of the SADC Liberation Square at the Museum of African Liberation and the tour of the Geopomona site.
The theme of the Industrialization Week is promoting innovation to unlock opportunities for sustainable economic growth and development towards an industrialized SADC. President Emerson Mnangagwa will officially open the event. Owen Mandova, ZBC News, Harare.
And that report concluding our look at business news, we now shift our attention to the world of the creatives in the arts. Work has started on the rehabilitation of the famous Charles Austin Arts and Theatre Center in Masvingo, in a move expected to boost the arts sector in the ancient city.
Charles Austin Theatre is known as a conveyor belt to artistic talent in the province, and the local authority has moved in to restore the theatre's yesteryear glory through rehabilitating the facility. A fundraising luncheon towards the cause was held in Masvingo this Tuesday.
Tikugadzirisa musha wedu weCharles Austin Theatre kunyaya zvivakwa zvedu zvanga zvisina kumira zvakanaka. Panga pachiperformerwa nevana vedu arts, performing arts ne visual arts manga musina kumira zvakanaka mu imba iyo yamunoona iyi.
It is very important for us as the city of Masvingo to have an active and vibrant theatre that deals with both the visual and the performing arts and other related activities. One, it will be an entertainment center for both the adults and also the youths. Then two, it is also important for talent identification and talent nurturing amongst our children.
Government pledged its commitment to supporting the arts sector, saying talent identification should be inclusive.
Nzvimbo yatinoda kusimudzira takatarisa nyaya dzekusimudzira matarenda evana komana nevanasikana
vanoita nezvekuimba, vanoita nezvetsika nemagariro, nekuti izvi zvinova muchirongwa chakaiswa nemutungamiriri wenyika President Emerson Mnangagwa takatarisira kusimudzira ufumi hwenyika yedu.
The fundraising event was also an opportunity to honor Masvingo engineer Edward Mukaratirwa for winning the President's Award as the Best Town Clerk for Urban Local Authorities category. Charles Austin Theatre is known for nurturing talent, having groomed prominent actors and musicians from Masvingo province, including Sabuk Varazipi and Mambo Guramatunu, the poet. Mes Matina, ZBC News, Masvingo.
Indeed, Zimbabwe has talent. The main news takes a break. We'll be back shortly with the latest in sport with Anashim Rombedzi.
What's wrong? Needs a little something. Needs a little something. Needs a little something. Needs a little something. Needs a little something.
KFC's got the sauce. Introducing our spicy range flavored with Tabasco. It's finger-licking good.
Why is Pizza Inn Zimbabwe's favorite? Must be the pizza.
Must be the perfectly kneaded dough.
The thick and rich pizza sauce.
Must even be the fresh and delicious toppings.
The soft and tasty mozzarella cheese.
All oven-baked to make the perfect combination of mouth-watering pizza.
But it doesn't end there. At Pizza Inn, we're big on more. More pizzas, more extras, and more sharing.
With our delicious range of crowd-pleasing favorites, you'll have plenty to share with him or them, and even those guys. Share the fun with Zimbabwe's favorite.
Pizza Inn. Must be the pizza.
In the interest of the public, the government of Zimbabwe wishes to advise the nation of measures being put in place to enhance the administration and management of urban state land. The Ministry of Local Government and Public Works is mandated to administer on behalf of His Excellency the President, Comrade Dr. E.D. Mnangagwa, urban state land, itself a finite heritage resource that is central to the National Development Thrust as espoused in the National Development Strategy 1 and Vision 2030. It is therefore imperative that an efficient and transparent system is put in place to ensure that urban state land plays a role in facilitating sustainable and functional development. The Ministry therefore wishes to announce the imposition with immediate effect of a moratorium on allocation of urban state land until further notice. This is to allow the Ministry to finalize the ongoing process of reviewing and strengthening existing policy framework and guidelines on the administration and management of urban state land. Stakeholders and the general public are urged to be patient while the Ministry concludes this process.
Welcome to the Sports Corner. Anashim Rombedzi here with the latest in the world of sport. Now, the Warriors' 2026 World Cup qualification campaign has left the country in a soul-searching exercise after it showcased the good, the bad, and the ugly side of Zimbabwean football.
Zimbabwe suffered a humiliating 3-1 defeat to neighbor South Africa in Bloemfontein this Tuesday, hard on the heels of a 2-0 defeat at the hands of Lesotho in another 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifier last week. With the Warriors seemingly wandering in the dark without a substantive coach, a stadium of their own and run by a normalization committee, it is, however, not all doom and gloom. A 20-year-old forward Tawanda Chirewa, who plays for Wolves in the English Premier League, kept a fine performance by scoring his debut goal for the Warriors in his second match for Zimbabwe. The England-born star star showed some great attacking ability, eliminating opponents at will. Chirea was not the only one to impress, as Ndiro Mota showed that he is a bowler, while fellow youngster Tawanda Maswani also showed a glimpse of quality that he possesses, especially in the match against Lesotho, where he was given more time. Despite the deflating defeats, Zimbabwe has a core of young players and experienced players like Evergreen Marshall Mnetse to build upon. That is, however, where the good story ends. This was a horror show of monumental proportions, with the 2 World Cup qualifiers confirming the myriad of problems facing Zimbabwean football. The goalkeeping department is fast becoming a sport of bother. Zimbabwe conceded 5 goals in the last 2 matches after using 2 goalkeepers, Chickenins Donald Benavan against Lesotho and Godfrey Chitsumba of Manica Diamonds against South Africa. Zimbabwe have not had a consistent goalkeeper in the last 4 years, and the Warriors have used 5 goalkeepers in that period: Taube Chumba, Elvis Chibezeze, Petros Mari, Donovan Bernard and Godfrey Chitsumba. Bernard has been the consistent performer of late, but after his howl against Lesotho, he was dropped to the bench for the South Africa game. A goalkeeper is part of the spine of any team, and without a reliable shot stopper, very few teams succeed. The striker situation is also a big cause for concern, with Zimbabwe only scoring 2 goals in 4 matches. ZBC News highlighted the team's weak strike force before the recent qualifiers, and the fears were confirmed after Zimbabwe scored just 1 goal in 2 matches. All fingers will point to the selection criteria, as better performing players were omitted in favor of those that had not set the league alight. Jordan Zemura's form is slowly becoming a worry for the Warriors. The talented utility player, a pale shadow of himself during the last 2 World Cup qualifiers. His form has also deteriorated at club level, where he has become a bit part player for Udinese. The World Cup campaign has brought to light the ugly situation that Zimbabwean football finds itself in. Zimbabwe is clearly lacking a definite plan of action. Do we want to qualify for the World Cup? Are we building for the future, or just fulfilling fixtures for the sake of it? The ZIFA Normalization Committee has made a mess of its time in office, especially in handling national team issues. In the 6 matches under the Normalization Committee, the Warriors have used their 3 different head coaches: Bautimo Brito for the 2 World Cup qualifiers, Norman Mapeza for the 4 Nations tournament in Malawi, and lately Jairus Tapera. All the coaches have been appointed with less than 10 days before crucial matches, a situation that is not healthy for any team to succeed. The Normalization Committee has also been accused of selecting players on behalf of coaches, while external hands have also been fingered in team selection. A Shona proverb aptly sums up the current situation with regards to Zimbabwean football. Ideka Wadeka, Tsimereku TV. Lawrence Trusida, ZBC News, Harare.
Zimbabwe National Soccer Supporters Association founding president Mboma Nyatanga has died. He was 62.
The passionate Warriors fan died Wednesday morning with his nephew Edmo Nyatanga confirming his death. Popularly known as Mboma, Nyatanga is remembered for taking the lead in organizing support for the senior national football team, the Warriors. Nyatanga went on to form the Zimbabwe National Soccer Supporters Association, which united national team fans under one body. Mboma was also key in organizing supporters to travel to Tunisia for the Warriors' made an appearance at the Africa Cup of Nations in 2004. He survived by 2 wives and 13 children. Burial arrangements will be announced in due course. Lawrence Trusida, ZBC News, Harare.
Zimbabwe cricket has set in motion plans to be the country's #1 sport. It was revealed by Zimbabwe cricket director Give Mo Makoni at a kit handover to Zimbabwe National Army cricket team White Rhinos this Wednesday.
Zimbabwe cricket envisages to be the country's most followed sport, and to achieve that, they have a plan to spread the game to all corners and institutions across the country. ZC is taking the sport to rural areas under the Cricket Kumusha Ekaya program. They have also incorporated key national institutions such as the Defence Forces.
One of our objectives is to make sure that cricket is played by all and sundry. It's played in the 4 corners of the country. Every kid, every human being is exposed to the game. So for us to identify with humans, with the uniformed forces is a huge milestone for us. It means the game is growing, it means people are taking up the game, it means people are understanding the game.
The ZC managing director was speaking during a handover of our playing and training kits to White Rhinos, a cricket club run by the Zimbabwe National Army.
This generous and thoughtful gesture could not have come a better time, especially as we are making our final preparations to host Oshipongo Cricket Club from Namibia Defence Forces. This sponsorship will go a long way in motivating the White Rhinos cricket family to aim higher in our quest of making White Rhinos a cricket powerhouse.
White Rhinos are preparing to take on Namibia Defence Forces at Takashinga Cricket Club in Harare from the 15th to the 19th of this month. Lawrence Trusera, ZBC News, Harare.
That's it from the Sports Corner. Now let's take a look at the weather.
A pleasant evening, Zimbabwe. It's Christine Sivanda from the Meteorological Services Department. Welcome, and let's take a look at the weather. On today's episode, we had cold conditions across the country, with an exception of West Nick, Masvingo, Boyera, and Lusape, as well as Mutoko, which had very cold conditions with slight ground frost reported in these areas. On the other hand, the eastern parts of the country were briefly cloudy, and by the afternoon, it was all sunny across the country and warm, becoming cold towards this evening. Now, tomorrow's forecast, we're expecting sunny conditions across the country, cold at first, becoming warm by the afternoon. For our temperatures in detail, Harare is forecast to record a maximum of 26 with a minimum of 9 degrees Celsius, Bulawayo 25 and a minimum of 5 degrees Celsius, Gweru sunny with 22 maximum and a minimum of 3 degrees Celsius, Kwekwe 25 and a minimum of 5 degrees, Kaduma 26 and a 4 minimum. Moving on, Masvingo is forecast to record a maximum of 23 and a minimum of 4, Lupani 27 with a minimum of 3, Marondera 24 and a 3 minimum as well, Gwanda 25 with a least minimum of 2 degrees Celsius. For our holiday resorts, Victoria Falls, very cold, 25 maximum with a minimum of 3. Great Zimbabwe 23 and a minimum of 4 degrees Celsius. Nyanga 18 and a 6 minimum. Matopos 25 and a 6 as well. Mani to the east 22 and a minimum of 10 degrees Celsius. Now for our outlook, it's going to be mostly sunny across the country. Cold in the morning, becoming warm by the afternoon, and cold as we head towards the evening. In conclusion, we advise you to dress warmly, and if there is need to light up a brazier or fire to keep warm, please ensure all the rooms are well ventilated to avoid suffocation. Good evening, Zimbabwe.
Thank you very much for that weather report and forecast, and it was our final port of call from all of us here. It's good night.
Good night.
From the 6th to the 8th of June, President Emmerson Mnangagwa undertook a visit to the Russian Federation. The president arrived in St. Petersburg on the 6th of June and was welcomed at the Polkawa International Airport by Zimbabwe's Deputy Ambassador to Russia, Mponi Sidzapasi, and officials from the host country's government. Key on the agenda for President Mnangagwa was the attendance of the St. Petersburg International Economic Forum, as well as side meetings. The Economic Forum, which has been hosted by the Russian Federation for the past 26 years, provides a platform for participants to discuss best practices and expertise in various business. In 2023, close to 20,000 participants from 130 countries took part in the event. This year, 136 countries were represented at the 27th edition of the forum. On the 6th, President Mnangagwa met with his counterpart, President Vladimir Putin, at the Konstantinok Palace. Zimbabwe's Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Trade, Ambassador Frederick Shava, said the meeting between the two heads of state was important as it afforded them an opportunity to discuss challenges affecting both countries, as well as discussing possible areas of cooperation.
It was very important for the two heads of state to meet, and for His Excellency President Mnangagwa to express his gratitude for being invited to this economic forum. And during that particular meeting, they addressed several issues, One of them was simply the strengthening of the bilateral relations between the Russian Federation and the Republic of Zimbabwe, and in the context of our engagement and re-engagement efforts. And as you know, the Russian Federation has been supporting us, particularly with the background of the sanctions imposed on Zimbabwe for so many years now. And the two leaders discussed the importance of improving our trade and investments between the countries.
On Friday, the 7th, President Mnangagwa joined President Putin at the main plenary session of the forum, which was attended by business people from Russia and beyond. The Bolivian President, Luis Arce, was also in attendance. In his remarks, President Putin noted how the future of states depends on their ability to adapt and tap into what is available to them.
I'm sure that in the modern conditions and in the long-term outlook, the role, the power, and I'll say even more, the future of the states will depend on how effectively they can find responses to global challenges, tap into their domestic potential to use their competitive advantages and offset their weaknesses, maintain and strengthen partnership relations with other countries and regions.
When President Mnangagwa took to the podium, he was clear about the need for equal partnerships with African countries. He said it is unacceptable that the collective West continues to pursue hegemonic tendencies that blatantly